Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of Best Albums by Year 1978. So this is a series where I'm going to look back at the best 50 albums from the last 50 years, of which I'll only be choosing an artist once during this series, except in runner-up lists, artists might repeat there. But it's going to make selecting the actual winner for the year that much harder, but also I think that much more fun. And this particular episode, of course, will focus on 1978. But before we get into all of that, if you are new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this, with Best Albums by Year 1978. So in full disclosure, I wasn't born until 1976, so I am coming at this from a different perspective than most of you who grew up with these albums, but I love these albums all the same. And as always, I want to set a little bit of context, some history about what was going on in 1978. Jimmy Carter was president of the United States. The Sex Pistols hold their last concert. Serial killer Ted Bundy commits an infamous murder at Florida State University. The Hillside Strangler claims his 10th victim. And serial killer David Berkowitz, also known as the Son of Sam, is sentenced to 365 years in prison. The first global positioning satellite, or GPS, is launched. The TV show Dallas airs for the first time on CBS and of course is now having a revival. The film Grease is released to theaters. Baseball player Pete Rose gets his 3,000th hit in Major League Baseball. The rainbow flag is flown for the first time, representing the LGBT community. The Double Eagle II becomes the first balloon to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Drummer Keith Moon of The Who dies of an accidental drug overdose. Pope John Paul I dies after only 33 days of being Pope. The Susan B. Anthony $1 coin is minted for the first time in the U.S. The former Soviet Union stockpile of nuclear weapons exceeds that of the U.S. at the time. And the Star Wars Holiday Special airs on CBS. I'm sure something we'd all like to forget. And the arcade game Space Invaders debuts, I'm sure of which taking up a lot of all of our time in arcades over the years. Great game that it is. And so for this particular year, there was a lot of great albums released by a lot of really cool artists, like, of course, AC/DC, Rush, Styx, The Police, Bob Seger, Boston, Rod Stewart, Joe Walsh, REO Speedwagon, Queen, and of course, The Who. But I've got 5 runner-up albums that I want to talk about here. First one being The Cars and their debut studio album from the new wave band, of course, making a big splash with hits like Just What I Needed, My Best Friend's Girl, and Good Times Roll. The album itself, in my opinion, is a rock and pop masterpiece at the same time, being able to blend both of those two genres effortlessly on this album. Okay, the next runner-up goes to Rainbow, Long Live Rock and Roll, third studio album, featuring, of course, Ritchie Blackmore on guitar, formerly of Deep Purple. And it was the last album to feature Ronnie James Dio before he exited the band to go on to front Black Sabbath for 2 excellent albums. This one here featured some real standout tracks on it, in particular the title track, Long Live Rock and Roll, Gates of Babylon, and Kill the King, just to name a few of them. I find it interesting, this album is often cited as a major influence in the creation of power metal, the genre. So that's kind of cool. All right, next one goes to Bruce Springsteen, Darkness on the Edge of Town, 4th studio album from him. This one here, when it came out, ended a 3-year-long gap between albums that was due to legal battles going on at the time between him and his record label. At the time, this album was praised for its maturity in themes and lyrics, and featured the hits Badlands, Racing in the Street, The Promised Land, Prove It All Night. For me, at least, I always felt that this album here was what perfected Heartland rock. It just did it so well, and after this, that kind of stuff really exploded going into the 80s. Okay, the next one goes to Foreigner, Double Vision, second studio album by these guys. Really slick, powerful production done by Keith Olsen, one of my favorite producers. Features the only instrumental track that Foreigner ever recorded, Trematon, if I'm saying that right, I apologize. Guitarist Mick Jones takes lead vocals on two of the tracks here, Back Where You Belong and I Have Waited So Long, but the album itself had some real standout hits like Hot Blooded, Double Vision, Blue Morning, Blue Day. And this one here, I just think that, you know, the combination of all those things, having the instrumental, Mick Jones taking lead vocals, some real standout hit songs, of course, is what really puts this album over the top. And the final runner-up of Album of the Year for 1978 goes to Van Halen, Van Halen 1, debut studio album. And this one here, you know, from the start of the car horn on this one, that infamous bass line that comes in from the first song, Running with the Devil. I just think rock music was changed with this album here and its release. But the thing is, with the second track, on here, Eruption, that's where I think everything changed, right? In 1 minute and 42 seconds, Van Halen, you know, Eddie Van Halen, I should say, really redefined what it is that the guitar could do and how it could be played. That alone could make this one here the best album of 1978, certainly. But of course, this album is just great start to finish on here. But now, for my favorite album of 1978, it goes to the Rolling Stones, Some Girls. So 16th studio album from them, at least in the US, 14th in the UK. This one here was the first one to feature new guitarist Ronnie Wood as a full-time member in the band. He had played or guested on previous albums, but this one here, full-time member on. And so this one here was influenced by the sounds of dance and disco that were going on at the time, merged with their soulful blues rock that they were so good at, and the quality of how well the Stones could mix those different genres together on this album here is what I think sets this album apart from the pack for that year at least. And it featured some real standout hits on it. Miss You, it's got a really great driving bass line from Bill Wyman on it and giving it that cool disco feel of the era. Beast of Burden is a cool melodic rocker on here with a lot of soul and attitude that just makes it stand out. And then Shattered, one of my favorite tracks on this album here. It's got a real heavy bottom end on it and frenetic vocals, just providing this song with a lot of energy. Every time I hear it, it just gets me going. And, you know, from top to bottom, though, this album here is just excellent. There's no bad songs on it. There's no filler, making it, for me at least, the best album of 1978. And so there you go. That is Best Album by Year, 1978. And do check the description for links to related videos in particular. I'll leave a link to the Rolling Stones Tattoo You 40th Anniversary Deluxe Edition review that I did. And I'll also leave a link to the Tattoo You Grrr box set that was celebrating their 50th anniversary at the time when that came out. Now, almost 10 years ago, we're about ready to be celebrating their 60th anniversary next year in 2022. So look forward to that, certainly. And if you enjoyed this video, please share it out on social media. Help spread the word that way. I would greatly appreciate it. And up next, the last year of the decade, 1979. So do check back for that. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.